Democrats are once again calling for tighter gun restrictions following this latest mass shooting. This comes less than 2 weeks after Congress passed a bipartisan bill in response to the Uvalde Elementary School shooting just in May that killed 19 students and 2 teachers. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Rafa joins us with more on this. Hey, Ali, good morning. So, I've been down this road before where Democrats unite in calling for more action federally following a mass shooting. We actually did see more action federally following Uvalde, but what are they saying now in response to this shooting, to what happened in Highland Park?
Good morning, Savannah. Well, I think first off, it's interesting what Tom said about this still being under investigation, whether these red flag laws, specifically in Illinois, would have possibly prevented this shooter from getting these guns. That's something that is still under investigation, and it's not really clear whether any of the provisions in this bill, as you mentioned, that President Biden signed into law less than 2 weeks ago now, would have prevented this from happening. I think notably the 4 main players in the negotiations, the 2 Republicans and 2 Democratic senators, Murphy, Cornyn, Tillis, and Sinema, were pretty quiet yesterday in reaction to this shooting, but we saw just a swarm of reaction from the majority of Democrats who are renewing their calls for several of the things that they didn't get in this bipartisan gun package, like an all-out assault weapons ban or raising the minimum age to be able to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. One of those Democrats was Senator Dick Durbin. Listen to his reaction here.
There is no reason for a person to own a military assault weapon. It has no value for hunting or sports or even self-defense. It is a killing machine.
And Democrats called even for more action from President Biden, possibly even renewing calls for that 2004 all-out assault weapons ban. You even heard Vice President Kamala Harris speak in Illinois, asking for more change. So it really seems like we're back where we started, despite this historic gun reform, the biggest change in gun reform that we've seen in nearly 30 years. Still calls for action, Savannah.
Yeah, Ali, let's talk about the other side here. So we're also hearing from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who supported that bipartisan gun bill last month. That's how it got over the line, was the support of Republicans as well. What's his response to this shooting and to these calls for change?
Yeah, we heard from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday back home in Kentucky, and he touted the passing of this bill several times, saying he, quote, thinks this bill that we passed targeted the problem. In particular, he says, it was school safety and mental health that he says was the reason for the shooting in Illinois. Take a listen to part of his reaction.
I think yesterday's shooting is another example of what the problem is. The problem is mental health, and these young men who seem to be inspired to commit these atrocities. So I think the bill that we passed targeted the problem.
So those are similar arguments and reactions that we heard in the wake of the Uvalde shooting and the Buffalo shooting from Republicans, saying that this is more of a school safety issue. This is more about mental health. Those were several of the provisions that were passed in that bipartisan gun safety bill, more funding for those 2 things. So Republicans across the board really not showing any eagerness to reopen this debate over gun reform, Savannah.
All right, Ali Rafa, thank you so much.